describe this gentleman. Some of you guys have seen him. His name is Mr. Randy Hedge. He goes by Cowboy. I've been knowing him for 22 years. He's a multi-business owner. He's been in network marketing for over 30 years, like myself. Actually, he got a year over me. He's been in 2 companies just like myself, and he's built this business worldwide from a small town in Arkansas. His town consists of, listen up, you guys think you can't build this? His town is only 4,000 people in his town. He's in a town called DeQueen. That's right, DeQueen, Arkansas. That's right, Pat Robinson. DeQueen, Arkansas. It's halfway between Little Rock, Arkansas, and Dallas, Texas. Matter of fact, it's so small, if you stop at the stop sign, the other side of the stop sign says goodbye. He's proud of this town. He calls himself, he's a very blessed, and this is a quote. I said, give me 5 good things. He said, I'm a very blessed redneck. And I said, I know that, Randy, but I'll tell the people. He's happily married, a father, has 3 grandchildren, and he's just a great guy. So without further ado, my dear friend from Arkansas, the one and only SVP, Mr. Randy Hedge, known as Cowboy.
I wanna be a cowboy, baby, with a top left back and the sunshine shining. Cowboy, baby, West Coast chillin' with the blues. I wanna be a cowboy, baby.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's very kind. Wow, what a great turnout. What a great looking group. I got to tell you, I have to give respect back very quickly. Mr. Al Thomas has been one of my heroes, mentors from afar. You talk about when you want to follow someone. I can remember the very first time I saw Mr. Thomas on stage, I was absolutely blown away. And I said, I've got to meet this guy. And either consciously or subconsciously, I've been trying to mimic Mr. Thomas ever since. So I can check off my bucket list the fact that I actually get to collaborate with him and be on this this Zoom with y'all this morning. I got to tell you, though, having me here is kind of like having the water boy trying to tell Tom Brady how to run a football game. It just makes no sense. The only reason I get to speak, folks, the only reason that they let me talk is you can call your guest up tomorrow and say, you know what? If Jethro can do it from DeQueen, Arkansas, anybody can. I mean, guys, before I got this business, the only thing I could brag about was I graduated from my high school with 19 people. I did graduate in the top 20 of my class, a solid top 20. But I'm not the smartest. I'm not the brightest. I am not the best by any means. But I am an example of perseverance, persistence, and just following what others have shared with us. So it's an honor to be here. I look forward to visiting with y'all, getting to know you. Al, tell me how you want to do this. Do we want to do some Q&A? Do you want me to?
I just want you to tell. I want you to tell Randy, Mr. Hedge. I know Randy, but I'll call you Mr. Hedge out of respect. I want you to tell the people some of the ups and downs and pitfalls you went through. And you know what? Even though you're in a small town of 4,000 people, people think, oh, well, you don't know how the people in my town are. I said, well, there's like the people up yonder. There ain't nobody. They're all the same. So just give us a downside chat about some of the things you had to go to build your international business worldwide from a small town of only 4,000 people in the middle of, nowhere hardly.
Absolutely. Sure. Well, to be fair, guys, I don't actually live in DeQueen. I live about 11 miles outside of DeQueen. We call it the suburbs. I'm so far back in the country, folks, I got to go towards town to hunt. We don't get Monday Night Football till Wednesday afternoon. Does that make sense? So to say that I've been challenged to build this business I think would be a fair statement. Now, understand, I'm not complaining. It's worked out very, very well for me. When I started in network marketing, started with the exact same company that Mr. Thomas was a part of, Excel Communications. I can remember when we got all excited about 10 cents a minute for long distance. Oh my God, we were going to change the world, But the interesting thing, guys, is when I actually started, even with Excel, the long distance service was not available where I live. Matter of fact, I had to travel about 60, 70 miles to get to a market where they could choose their provider. I was with that company 15 years, 16 years, very blessed, made some good money. But when it went away, I said, I'm kind of done with network marketing. I'm not going to do another pyramid. I think I'm through with that. And my good friend, Mr. Presley Swaggerty, who I actually think y'all are going to hear from tomorrow, maybe. He's in Texas, and he kept telling me, "Hey, man, we can get paid on some people's electric bills down here in Texas." And I'm like, "Well, dude, that don't help me. I'm an hour and a half from Texas, and I'm 3 hours from the closest deregulated market." So I kind of blew him off. Thank God. I thank God every day that he was persistent without being pushy. He just kept encouraging me. He just kept telling me I could do it. He kept sending me copies of his checks. And finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I said, man, I got to try this. So guys, understand, I have built my whole business from D Queen. This is where I've always lived. On Tuesdays, I would drive down to Dallas, which is about 3.5 hours, Fort Worth, which is about 4.5 hours. I'd go to Houston, which is 7 hours. And I just talk to some people. And then I'd drive back many times that same day. Very seldom could I stay over, because at that point, I was a single father. When my first network marketing business ended, at the exact same time, my wife of 19 years decided she didn't want to be a wife anymore. So here I am with full custody of my 2 boys, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. It was a tough time. To be honest, I lost a lot of belief in myself, in my ability, whether I had value. Listen, if you're going through a difficult spot, if life is really throwing some stuff at you, that's a blessing. Because I can promise you, I can look back on every single situation in my life where I thought something was going wrong, and it actually turned out to be a blessing. Fast forward today, working this business part-time, 2 or 3 days a week, I have literally been able to build an organization that pays me month after month after month. Kind of a neat story. About 3 or 4 years in, with my second company, we had built a pretty good team. We had some checks coming. Things were working. There was some growth, some momentum, some excitement. And my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Now, if you know anything about it, that's a pretty ugly deal. I mean, we knew it was a death sentence. So we made a decision that we were going to keep Daddy home. Between my mother, my sister, my brother-in-law, myself, and my second wife, who is now the love of my life. I got to tell you guys, you're going to be so lucky when you get to meet Marcy. People look at her and they look at me. They look at her, they look at me. They look at her and they go, it's got to be the residual. I mean, you can just tell we don't go together. I am way outclassed by my wife. I tell people I would drink her dirty bathwater every day just to get to be with her. So I'm blessed. But the 4 of us, along with my mom, decided we were going to help my dad. We didn't want him to have to go into hospice or assisted care. So we kept Daddy home. Now, here's the moral of the story. For 11 months, I didn't do a meeting. I didn't send an email. I didn't make a phone call. But because I had already started something, those checks kept coming. Every Friday, I got a bonus check. On the 15th of every month, I got my residual check. Guys, we were the number 12 or 13 money earner at the time, and our income went up almost $90,000, $87,000 and change. And we moved from the number 12 or 13 money earner to the number 8. And I didn't work for 11 out of 12 months. That's what having a team will do for you. That's what building a large group of independent business owners, like-minded entrepreneurs, lions and leaders, that's what that investment gave me. Was it fun driving 14 hours round trip to Houston and back in one day after being stood up? Absolutely not. Was it fun to have people tell me that I was in a pyramid, it was illegal? I remember the first lady I told about this. Very first time I decided to do network marketing, I went to the person who I knew would understand it. And as I explained it, I'll never forget, she blew up and puffed up and she went, "Oh, boy, you're going to jail or hell one." I turned and looked at her and said, "Mama, don't be that way. It's just word of mouth advertising." Look, I tell everyone on my team, go to your friends and family first, get your disappointment over with. Hear me. They know you. They know you don't know nothing about internet or dish or cell phone service or identity protection. They know that you're clueless when it comes to home security or credit card processing. Guys, it's the hardest thing in the world when you go to people that you respect and love and they don't see what you see. But understand that's okay. Because I truly believe that if you just keep sharing your own vision, if you just keep walking your path, sooner or later, they're going to see what you see. If that makes sense, give me an up and down nod. All right, so let me give you a couple of points I think that helped me make it through those tough times. I remember my first trip to Houston. Now, understand the company I was with, who y'all have recently acquired, it was called Ignite at first, then we started calling it Stream, then we called it Connect, and now I thank God I'm calling it ACN. I haven't left the company. It's left me a couple of times. It's changed on me a couple of times, but I have finally found a home. Praise God, praise God. I am home. I am free at last. I love ACN. And in fairness, let's cover that. Whenever I heard about the acquisition, whenever I heard that ACN was going to take over my previous company, I thought, oh no, here we go again, like my first experience. And I was distraught. I was mad. I was aggravated. I was angry. But you know what? It's been the biggest blessing I could ever see. And I didn't even learn my own lesson. Remember, I just told y'all if something bad happens, just realize there's a reason. You'll be able to look back and understand why. Well, I got down in the dumps. I got angry. I got depressed and aggravated. Oh, I got enough. I ain't going to work again. I'm through. And guys, then I realized what this comp plan was and what it was going to be. You see, we always build on belief and faith. I don't know where you're at in your business, but you got to believe it before you achieve it. Hear me. If you don't shoot the shot, it'll never go in the basket. That's the whole point. You got to believe it before you achieve it. So we're just in Texas. It's the only market we have. We're doing electricity. And I know I want to get down to Houston because it's a huge market. Houston is about 7 hours from where I live driving. You can't fly it from here. It takes longer to fly it than drive it because I got to drive 3 hours the other way to an airport. So it just makes no sense to fly to Houston. So I started driving down there. I had one contact. It was a friend of the family and their daughter and son-in-law. So I drive down to see them, 7 hours. They're not home. I drive 7 hours back. They call me the next day and say, oh, Randy, we're sorry, we forgot. Could you come back next week? I'm stupid enough. I go back the following week. They are there, but there's no guest. Now understand, they're not in the business. I'm just trying to explain it to them. Long story short, I made 7 trips, 14 hours round way to Houston, Texas before I got my first associate, partner, IBO. After that, I made 3 trips to help them get started where we didn't have any guests. 10 trips, guys, and I ain't made a dime. Matter of fact, to this day, they never got qualified. I never even got a bonus on them. But you know what? They did introduce me to someone who introduced me to someone who introduced me to someone. Guys, today, better than 1/3 of my income comes from that leg I started in Houston, Texas. How many of us would be willing to make 10? Oh, don't clap for me. Clap for yourself when you do it. And here's the good news. We ain't got to drive no more. Guys, I am sitting in my kitchen and I am doing a meeting. How cool is that? If you have not adopted Zoom, if you've not adopted using the PBZs, you're truly limiting yourself. Now, we'll never get away from being able to hug and high five and shake hands. That's important. And that's why I hope many of you are planning on joining us in Oklahoma City. You don't want to miss that one, folks. It's going to be huge. If you haven't got your ticket, if you haven't booked your travel, you need to, because I believe it's going to be a watershed moment on the ACN timeline. So anyway, I made several trips to Houston, finally got one in. I've been stood up. I've been rejected. I've been told no. Matter of fact, early on, I had a lawyer. I'm trying to explain the business to him. Before I ever get to the end, he interrupts and goes, pyramid, that's a pyramid. You're in a pyramid. And hear me, guys, I use that word freely. It doesn't bother me. Everything is a pyramid, right? There's a company called Ford Motor Company. I promise you, there's one guy at the top, and then there's other people under him and other people under them. Hey, look, guys, if you're married, you're in a pyramid and your wife's on top. That's just the way it works. Everything is pyramidal in shape. Now, if someone wants to say it's a scam, it's illegal, it's immoral, then I will have a debate. But if they won't call it a pyramid, I don't care. Call it a trapezoid, parallelogram, rectangle. Just pay me, baby. Pay me. I want some money. So I'm talking to this lawyer and he goes, pyramid, it's a pyramid. I finally got fed up and I decided to have a little fun. I closed my book. I leaned up and I said, you figured it out. No one else knows. But we've cut a deal with the Attorney General in the state of Texas. We think if we do this right, we got 2 to 3 years before they shut us down. We can make somewhere between $1 million and $4 million. We get to keep all the money, and we only got to do 6 months in a minimum security penitentiary. He leaned up and said, are you sure it's just 6 months? Look, guys, have fun with your business. Quit worrying about what other people say or think. If they're not paying your mortgage, if they're not putting your kids through school, if they're not the ones who are helping take care of your mom and dad in their elderly years, if they're not the ones contributing to your church, if they aren't aligned with what you want, what does it matter what they say, what they think? My daddy had a saying. You ready? You ready? Come on, give me some head nodding. You ready for the say? It's a good one. Beware of the naked man that offers you his shirt. Let's say it again. Beware of the naked man that offers you his shirt. Why are you taking advice from broke people? Why are you taking advice from people that don't have what you want? Listen, if he's naked, why would you allow him to tell you about a shirt? I hope you get the point. You're the one in control of your destiny. You're the one who gets to decide how much you make, when you promote, who you work with. Guys, this business can't be beat. I can truly tell you, I've got cattle, I've got timber, I've got land. I sell through Walmart.com. I have a Facebook store. I do public speaking. I do training. I've got a lot of gigs. I make money, but I make more money with my ACN business than I've ever made with anything, because you're able to leverage yourself. You're able to duplicate yourself. Now, last point, and then I'll let Mr. Thomas redirect me what I should be saying or answer your questions, whatever y'all want to do. I had a lot of trouble explaining the business, the numbers, the promotions, I was as confused as a newborn calf looking at a gate. Y'all understand? No, y'all didn't get that. Y'all are city people. Okay. I was as confused as a newborn at Hooters. You understand that one? I knew what I was looking at. I knew I wanted some. I just didn't know how to get there. So I learned a real easy way for me to explain my business. Would y'all like me to share it with you? Come on, give me that international sign for yes. There you go. I call customers eggs. Everywhere you look, there's eggs laying around free for the taking. Every internet bill, every cell phone bill, every home security bill, every credit card processing machine you see, right? Every person needs ID seal. In several states, we can offer electricity, natural gas. Those are all eggs, free for the taking. If you understand, do this. So for me, a customer is an egg. To get an egg, all they have to do is go to your website, type in some information, boom. You just got an egg, a customer service. You don't collect money. You don't have to get any form signed. You just told them about it. They went to your website. They typed in some information. Does that make sense? So for $200, this company gives you a basket. Your job, go put a few eggs in your basket yourself. After you get just a few eggs, then we're going to go get some chickens. Because them chickens lay eggs and hatch other chickens that lay eggs and hatch other chickens. Some of you looking at me like I'm drinking early in the day. I ain't, I promise. And unless you're drinking, this ain't going to get no better. This is as good as it is, okay? I'll try it a different way. How many of you would like to get paid on 10,000 people's life essential services every month? Raise your hand. Absolutely. But there's none of us good enough. There's none of us that have enough time. There ain't a basket big enough to go gather 10,000 eggs by yourself. Do you agree? So what you do is get a few eggs and then get you some chickens. Those chickens lay eggs and hatch other chickens that lay eggs that hatch other chickens. If you got enough chickens, you can have all the eggs you want. You want to know why this one is so special? You want to know why our business works when so many others don't? Even if the chicken dies, the egg is still there. You see, what we've learned is people keep paying that cell phone bill. They keep paying that electric bill. They keep paying for that ID seal, even if the salesperson or the IBO or the point of distribution, whatever you want to call it, quits. The customer is still there. Guys, I have personally sponsored about 50 chickens in my 17 years. Out of those 50, 43 have quit. Are you with me? But over 70% of my income comes from those quitters, those dead chickens. Because I told a dud that told a dud that told a dud that told a dud that found a purebred stud. You see, guys, it ain't about you. It's what you start. So we're in the chicken and egg business here in DeQueen, Arkansas. Get you some customers, then get you some customer getters. It ain't going to be fun. It ain't going to be easy. People are going to try to steal your dream. They're going to try to spit in your chili bowl. Just put your hand over it and say, not today, Bubba. You ain't paying my bills. You ain't walking in my boots. Get out of my way. I hope that helps. Mr. Thomas, I feel like I was just droning on. I apologize.
No, you weren't. You're hitting home, and I think people got the analogies down. Some of these folks on here, country folks like you and I, and there's a few from the city, but there's a few country folks on here. Hey, there's another gentleman on here remembers you from the old company, Mr. Curtis Evans, and I was telling him you're going to be on the call today. He almost tore his car up on the side of the road trying to get on this call today, and I know he's on there, and I saw his lovely wife, Miss Darlene Evans, the regional directors over in our company, soon to be regional vice president. They just bought an MLM in yesterday, and I tell you what, I want to thank Mr. Evans and Miss Evans on the call. But you know what? Next week we'll do a Q&A. Next week we'll do a little bit of Q&A. But what I'd like to do is maybe share one other story of some adversities you had to go through, and then we'll stop the call at that point. This one more adversity of building the business. Because I love what you talked about, driving 7 hours to Dallas and 3.5 hours to Dallas and 7 to Houston round trip. And here we got some folks at the time won't go around the corner. Like you said, we could build it from home now. And I love it. So give us one more adversity that you had to go through to build an international business like you built in a small town of 4,000 people.
I think the fact that where I live, many of the services I've never been able to use, even till today. Guys, do you understand, because of where I live geographically, I can't be an internet customer. I can't be an electricity customer. I can't be a cell phone customer. I can't be a natural gas customer. But that didn't keep me from getting paid on thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of those services because I started something. The biggest adversity I can remember is I'd had a little team going. I was kind of excited. And then all of a sudden, we had a pretty significant rate increase. And my little team was so focused on rates, not on building a business, not on helping people fulfill their dreams, but on providing a little cheaper service. Whenever we got a little out of kilter, they quit. They rebelled. And I remember I was so frustrated. I was so aggravated. I called my best friend, the sponsor, the gentleman you'll hear from tomorrow, Mr. Presley Swaggerty. And I said, that's it. I quit. I'm through. I ain't doing this again. Now understand, we've had this conversation 2 or 3 times, and every time he would go, oh, come on, you can do this. We'll figure it out. You're going to find someone. Don't give up. The reason Presley Swaggerty is a top earner is because he tells you how great you smell while he is secretly squirting cologne all over you. He is a master at helping people see their potential. But on this particular day, when I told him I was quitting, he said, fine, be a quitter, and hung up. I remember thinking, no, you didn't. I called him back. Hey, he went, quitter, 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 and hung up. Guys, your team members are going to have some tough days. You need to love on them, reassure them, pick them up. But every now and then, you got to give them a little tough love. We spank our kids for a reason. Discipline is important, not only in your life, but in your business. So when you're down, when you're hurting, when you're not sure it's going to work for you, call someone that can help lift you up. Have that accountability partner, that mentor. That's why this meeting this morning is so important. We come together and we pat each other on the back. We congratulate each other. We wash off all that negativity. Look, I think leadership meetings are like baths. You need to take one now and again. You need to keep cleaning yourself and preparing yourself to go out and do battle. The last point I'll give you is this. If you want more milk, get more cows. Don't squeeze harder on the cows you got. Guys, the one thing that will solve all the problems in your business is this: personally sponsor. You're not promoting fast enough. You're not getting enough bonuses. Your residual's not where you want it. You're not at the pin level you want to be. Personally sponsor. You want more milk, get more cows. Don't squeeze harder on the cows you got. Al, it has been an honor to be on here. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I look forward to next week as well.